Hey everybody, this is Stacy. It's January 31st. It's about 8:30 p.m. here in Las Vegas. There was an article that came out from the Las Vegas Review-Journal that details their perspective on what happened today in court, and I just wanted to share that with you. The article states, Ryan Bundy, accused of leading the 2014 standoff near his father's ranch in Bunkerville, testified that the charges detailed in the 16-count indictment against him described the actions of federal agents who tried to impound his father's cattle. The wrong people are in jail, Bundy testified during an unusual 6-hour detention hearing at which the rancher's son, who has been incarcerated for a year, argued for his release pending trial on extortion, conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States, and other charges resulting from the April 2014 confrontation. The hearing began with a 90-minute statement from Bundy in which he declared America's a union of sovereign states and denounced a totalitarian government. It included hours of bickering between Assistant U.S. Attorney Steve Meir and Bundy, who in deciding to testify subjected himself to cross-examination by the government. It ended after a tearful testimony from Bundy's wife about his kindness, with Bundy playing a video about the standoff published by Alex Jones' InfoWars website. U.S. Magistrate Judge George Foley did not immediately rule on Bundy's request for pretrial release. He said he would issue a written ruling later. Bundy, who is representing himself, appeared in court Friday dressed in a blue prison jumpsuit and smiled at his wife and 8 children sitting in the front row. Throughout the day, he insisted that the Bureau of Land Management agents were the aggressors, prepared to conduct battle on a peaceful group of protesters. The standoff occurred after a court ordered the BLM to seize rancher Clive and Bundy's cattle as a result of unpaid grazing fees. Amid armed protests, federal agents later released the cattle and left. How that's funny. The article fails to mention the cattle that they were killing, or like the interview that Pete did with, what was the name of them? Sons of Liberty, where he has heard recordings of them, of the agents deciding which cattle they were going to kill. So all of that is left out of this article. The West has now been won, Ryan Bundy declared at the time. BLM agents, he contends, did not have the authority to act on the court order and should have removed themselves sooner. And that's something that I would eventually like to cover in a video. I don't know if everybody understands, what authority really is and how much God really protects the people or a person that does have authority. But it's an awesome topic. I would love to cover it. I actually did a study on it when I was, when God was pointing out some issues that I had, and God is the one that helped me understand what authority was and what happens when I am disrespectful or I dishonor a person that He has put in authority. But that's for another video. At one point, when Meir was scrolling through pictures, including in the government's voluminous evidence, Bundy interjected when a picture of several federal agents with their guns raised during the standoff was displayed on the screen. "Oh, look at that," he said. "Look at them. Look at how their weapons are raised. Mr. Bundy, this is not some show for you. This is a court of law," Mary snapped at him, more than an hour into cross-examination. The prosecutors tried in cross-examination to show that Bundy and his fellow protesters did pose a threat. He tried to draw testimony about Bundy's opinion of the court order's validity in an effort to prove to the judge that Bundy did not respect court rulings. Earlier, Mary It's Myhre, however you pronounce that, guys, had shown Bundy pictures of other men charged in the case, amid long guns through a crack in a Jersey barrier on a bridge above. Token Wash, where the bulk of the confrontation occurred. Bundy said they were keeping the peace. How is he keeping the peace by aiming a long gun through a crack in a Jersey barrier? Mary asked. Bundy, after more back and forth, replied that the man was protecting freedom for the people. In the second picture, Mary asked if this man right here had the same duty to protect the people. Absolutely, according to the Constitution, Bundy said. What law enforcement agency is he with? The militia, replied Bundy, who frequently referenced protesters' Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Bundy's wife and family friend also testified on his behalf. Dozens of family and friends packed the small third-floor courtroom at the Lloyd George U.S. Courthouse on Thursday. They knelt in prayer outside the courtroom in the morning before testimony began. Bundy's hearing precedes the first trial in the case, which opens next week. Bundy is not scheduled to stand trial for several more weeks. It says contact Jenny Wilson at thereviewjournal.com or 702-384-8710 or follow her on Twitter. And there's another interesting fact about the hearing today that the Review Journal did not write about, and that was the sheriff's deputy that testified on behalf of Ryan Bundy. And as we know from John Lamb's video, that there was testimony, and it was actually in favor of Ryan Bundy's, that he was not the aggressor out there. This was a simple protest that happened. They were protesting the BLM agents, confiscating his father's cattle, and it got out of hand, but it wasn't because of anything that the Bundys did. It was what the federal officers were doing. So I find it amazing how they didn't even mention the sheriff deputy that testified in the hearing today on behalf of Ryan Bundy. So that's all I have. I just wanted to share it with you guys. I hope everybody's having a good night. I'll talk to you later.